What if the biggest obstacle to your financial freedom isn't your income or the economy, but a series of invisible tripwires buried deep within your own psychology? You know you should save more, but somehow you just don't. That one-time splurge mysteriously becomes a monthly ritual. This isn't a failure of willpower. It's a sign that your brain is actively, and often unknowingly, working against your wallet. These aren't random mistakes. They are ancient, hardwired survival mechanisms, ghosts of our evolutionary past that are now haunting our bank accounts. The same instinct that made our ancestors hoard scarce resources now makes us panic buy a limited-time offer. The part of our brain designed to follow the herd for safety now pushes us to keep up with the digital Joneses on Instagram. We are living in a financial world we were never built to navigate, armed with a mind that often leads us astray. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on these mental illusions. We'll dissect the psychological traps that are silently draining your finances, from the illusion of scarcity that creates artificial urgency, to the subtle anchoring that dictates what you're willing to pay for anything. We will explore why swiping a card feels so different from handing over cash, and why our brain consistently chooses the temptation of now over the security of later. This isn't about shame or blame. It's about understanding the invisible enemy so you can finally break free. Most of us believe financial struggle comes down to a simple personal failure, a lack of discipline. We look at our credit card statements, the impulse buys, the daily coffees that add up, and we chalk it all up to a weakness of will. We tell ourselves, if I were just more disciplined, I'd be fine. We see our friends who seem to have it all together, and we assume they were simply born with more self-control. But if it were just about willpower, why does that 50% off sign feel like a magnetic force, even when you don't need the item? Why do even the most disciplined people, marathon runners, successful executives, still find themselves making baffling financial mistakes? What if this isn't a failure of character, but a feature of your brain's design? Let's analyze this through the lens of a concept psychologists call the scarcity mindset. Our brains evolved over millennia in environments where resources were dangerously limited. For our ancestors, finding a tree laden with fruit was a rare, urgent event. The instinct wasn't to plan or ration. It was to get as much as possible, right now, before it was gone or another tribe found it. Flash forward to today. Your brain doesn't see a limited time offer for a new TV. It sees a rare fruit tree. The only 3 left in stock. Notification isn't just information. It's a trigger for that same ancient survival panic. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, isn't a modern invention. It's a ghost of our evolutionary past. Think about the ritual of Black Friday. We see people clamoring for deals, and we might label it as simple greed. But re-examine that scene through the scarcity lens. The store isn't just selling you a product. It's weaponizing your deep-seated fear of being left behind. You aren't making a rational decision based on value. You're reacting to a carefully manufactured crisis. So, that impulse buy wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a perfectly executed psychological heist, using your own brain's survival code against you. If scarcity explains our impulsive buys, it doesn't explain why we overpay for things we've carefully considered, like a car or a home. Or does it? Let's look at the price tag itself. This is a trap called the anchoring bias, and it's one of the most powerful forces in finance. The very first number you see related to a purchase, the initial asking price, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, becomes a mental anchor. Every negotiation, every other price, is now judged in relation to that first number, regardless of whether that number was based in reality. A $50,000 car that has been on the lot for months suddenly seems like an incredible deal when the dealer generously offers it to you for $45,000. You feel like you've won. You saved $5,000. But you never stopped to ask if the car was even worth $45,000 to begin with. The inflated original price anchored your perception of its value. The anchor sets the rules of the game before you even start playing. So if our idea of value can be so easily manipulated from the very first second, how can we ever know what anything is truly worth? To answer that, we have to look at something even more fundamental: the very act of paying. The hidden genius of the modern economy is that it has systematically removed the pain of spending. Think about it. When you hand over a crisp $100 bill, you feel a tangible loss. Your wallet is lighter. You see the physical representation of your labor disappear. Neuroscientists have shown this activates pain centers in the brain. But when you swipe a credit card or tap your phone, nothing. It's an abstract, frictionless act. The number on a screen changes, but there is no visceral sense of loss. This is the exact same principle casinos use. They don't let you gamble with cash. They make you convert it to colorful chips. It psychologically decouples you from the financial consequence of your actions. Your credit cards, your digital wallets, your one-click checkouts, they are the casino chips of daily life. Subscription services are perhaps the most insidious version of this, slowly and silently draining your resources in a way you never feel in a single painful moment. But wait, I hear you thinking, I do save. I contribute to my 401k. I put money away for retirement. That's proof of discipline, right? This seems to refute the idea that our brains are constantly sabotaging us. But let's deconstruct that virtue. We need to introduce the concept of present bias. Our brains are hardwired to want rewards now. The promise of a comfortable retirement in 40 years is abstract and distant. The pleasure of a fancy dinner tonight is immediate and real. We have what psychologists call a future self disconnect. We treat our future self like a stranger, someone who will magically have the discipline and resources we lack today. So why does that 401k contribution happen? For most people, it's because it's automated. The money is taken out of your paycheck before you ever have a chance to touch it, before your present bias can get its hands on it and argue for that new pair of sneakers instead. Your successful saving isn't proof of your willpower overcoming your brain's biases. It's proof that you've cleverly avoided the fight altogether. Your best financial decisions are often the ones you only have to make once. Now, we can assemble the pieces. We have a scarcity mindset that triggers impulsive buying, an anchoring bias that warps our perception of value, a painless payment system that encourages frictionless spending, and a present bias that prioritizes today's wants over tomorrow's needs. This is the internal battlefield. But there is one final overwhelming force that pours gasoline on this entire fire: the herd mentality. We are deeply social creatures, and for millennia, our survival depended on sticking with the tribe. We look to others for cues on what is safe, what is valuable, and what is normal. Today, that tribe is your Instagram feed. It's a curated highlight reel of your friends' vacations, new homes, and expensive hobbies. This isn't just a matter of envy. It activates a primal fear of being left behind by the herd. This constant external pressure supercharges all the other internal biases, creating a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of desire and spending. We now see the full picture. It's a psychological cage, built from ancient survival instincts and reinforced by modern technology and social pressure. We know the traps. We see the bars. The final question is, how do we pick the lock? The answer changes everything.